Hey guys, it's Josh here, and today we're going to cover the common question of what causes Crohn's disease. So there's basically like three ideas that doctors have, although the general cause is unknown of Crohn's disease, but there's three that are pretty promising that I'm going to go over. We're going to get right into it. The first one is like an autoimmune disorder. So basically the body is attacking itself. So basically this could be like misidentifying bacteria and attacking it and attacking it and attacking it. It could be bacteria caused by the stomach itself. So maybe it gets attacking the same bacteria that your intestines are producing, and then so it produces more bacteria. It could be like a cycle like that. It could be attacking a certain food. But the most common guess, I would say, is probably that it's an autoimmune disorder. The next cause is hereditary, so like genetics. Some people wonder if they got it from their parents or their grandparents. But most people who have Crohn's, like say me, I don't know anyone in my family that has Crohn's. And I have quite a diverse like family tree. So my mom has 5 siblings. So there's me, and then my mom, and then she has 5 siblings. And then on her side, I have like, I don't know, nearly 20 first cousins. Like all of them had like 2 or 3 kids. Like they had tons of kids. So tons of cousins, tons of aunts and uncles, and all of them don't have Crohn's. Grandparents the same. And then on my dad's side, he has 2 siblings. They all had kids, and no one has Crohn's or colitis or any sort of IBD. However, they say that most people who have Crohn's know someone in their family who does have some sort of stomach issues. So like my mother and my grandmother, mainly my mother, she has like really, really bad IBS. Like she'll eat the wrong food. She has like some pretty severe like food intolerances. So she eats like the wrong thing at a restaurant. Like it just destroys her stomach, like worse than mine would be, you know. If she drank like a glass of milk or even just had like butter that was like sprayed on the crust of pizza, like it would just destroy her stomach and give her a stomachache for the rest of the night. Whereas me, if I did that, I don't know how bad it would be for me. And it's crazy because I'm the one with the disease. But anyways, my mother has stomach issues, and then my grandmother, although my grandmother's like really in her head about it, and she doesn't like to get tested or anything, so it's really hard to know or even say anything about what she has, or, you know, that could be food intolerances, because we know food intolerances are basically like you test those by a pick of your finger, right? You pick it and then you like dab it on a piece of paper or something. It's been like 5 or 6 or 8 years since I've done it, but it was just like a little pick, I think, of the finger, and that's how they do it. But my grandmother, she doesn't like any sort of medical stuff like that, so she won't do anything like that. So it's hard to even know like what she has or what's wrong, but she just like, she complains that she has so many different stomach issues related to food. And I sent my grandfather a text, but he didn't respond. But I think like her dad also had stomach issues. So it's like, I can kind of see where it came from. So to conclude the genetic part, most people who have Crohn's don't know someone in their family who has Crohn's, but they generally know someone who has like stomach issues of some kind. Another thing is like, you can only trace it back so far because I don't know how long testing has been available for this kind of stuff. So if you take me, I'm born in 95. My grandma, I was born on her 50th birthday. So 95 minus 50 would be 45. So she's born in 45. And let's say she was born, her parents were maybe 20 when she was born. Like that's just the norm back then. So they were probably born in 1925. Most people with Crohn's, I guess, are diagnosed at the age of 20 anyways. So, or 18, 19, 20 right in there. In the year, 1944, 1945, could you have got testing for Crohn's disease? Like there was a world war going on at the time, so I don't really think you could have. So even if my great-grandfather did have Crohn's disease, like what would the testing be back then? What would be available? I have no idea. People complain in modern day how like so often the disease gets downplayed, like, oh, it's just a stomach ache, oh, it's just in your head or something. Like you think it's bad now. You like imagine being born in the 20s and trying to get diagnosed with stomach issues in the 40s. Like, I couldn't imagine. Okay, and the third category of causes is environmental factors. And I think this one's pretty interesting because there's a lot of data on this for other diseases. So you can although there's not much data on like Crohn's or IBD or UC, if you can look up so much different data and just find so many trends based on environmental causes and just like how it affects and correlates to like different factors within the human population. So environmental factors are things like pollution, toxic chemicals, that could be anything. That could be like spraying like Raid, like along my back wall of my apartment. Ants kind of like crawl in through there, so I always have to spray Raid inside like once a month just to keep, everything clean in here. And, I always like think like my entire apartment starts smelling like Raid, and I'm like, how healthy is this? If it's killing that ant, is like, what's it doing to me? Roundup is another chemical that's like, I don't know. It's so controversial because so many like farmers will say like it does nothing, but then again they're like kind of biased because they make so much money off of spraying Roundup. So for environmental factors, food contaminants is probably like the biggest one though. At least, you ever see like those videos where they like look at? There used to be this video online. This is at least 10 years ago. It was like when I was in high school. They would take like a chicken nugget. I don't know if this is even true because stuff is so often faked on the internet, but they like squeezed it and like this pink like filler came out, and it's like, why is there pink stuff coming out of my chicken? Especially in like Western food, like America. I'm not from America, but like I'm from Canada, which usually has like very similar health. Obesity rates are just as common here in Canada as they are in the US. But I'm sure if you look at like stats of like percentage of the population with Crohn's disease in a country with like more regulation on food, like some European countries maybe, I'm sure the Crohn's disease rate would be much lower. That's just a guess though, so if you're interested in that, you can look it up, but I'm not. And then there's, I'm just reading here, the Hastings Center, which is based in Garrison, New York, says that the following illnesses are environment related. I guess some of these we already kind of know, but I'm going to list them all anyways. Cancer, heart disease, diabetes, asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, obesity, occupational injuries, arthritis, Parkinson's disease, malaria. Then there's one I can't pronounce, and then depression. But I'm sure the list is a lot longer than that. They go on to say food production causes environmental damage from pesticides and fertilizers, waste produced by livestock, carbon emissions from food manufacturing, transportation, deforestation, overfishing, etc. I really think contaminants in the food are probably the main source of environmental factors. And there's this one study. I'll throw it up on the screen if I can find it, or you can probably just search it. In my book, I talk a little bit about this, but there's like this study that shows over time, like the production of male sperm, like male sperm counts are basically dropping decade by decade. On the same graph, they put it out like across with plastic production, total plastic production by like millions of tons or something, and it kind of like goes like this. So it's just like as the plastic production increases, the male sperm counts are dropping, and it's like basically like linear. It's not like it's not any crazy pattern, but it looks like this. And I thought that was kind of interesting, but I'm sure there's so much more data you can find on environmental factors that are affecting, the health of humans. So those are the three beliefs of cause of Crohn's disease: autoimmune disorder, hereditary, like genetics, and the third one is environmental factors. If you guys want to see more of these videos, just click subscribe. I'll keep making them.